back to the False Prophet channel, and this is your host, Brother Jacob, and this is the False Prophet channel where we get the false prophet of Islam, Muhammad, destroyed on a regular basis. I don't even know if I got the model correct. I know it's been a while. I know you guys probably been wondering, where has Brother Jacob been? Well, to answer that question, Brother Jacob has been in the trenches fighting against false doctrines. And to be even more specific, I've been in the trenches as well fighting against the false doctrine of the Trinity. I never told you guys because at one point, Brother Jacob, I was under the false premise that God is made up of three distinct persons, but glory to the one and only Yahweh. My eyes have been opened. Now I know that Yahweh is one. He is not three distinct persons. And more about where I've been, and I will show you that Yahweh is one in this debate clip that I have for you. Lately, I've been on Clubhouse. For those who don't know, Clubhouse is an app where people come together and they share their different ideas and opinions on different subject matter, from social, political topics to even religion. And on Clubhouse, you have a lot of Muslims and Christians, and they, talk about their different beliefs, and, we debunk Muslims. But another thing on Clubhouse, there is an ongoing debate between oneness Christians and Nicene Trinitarians, which I myself used to be a part of until I found out that the Trinity was not what Jesus was speaking. It was not a doctrine that Jesus was teaching. It wasn't a doctrine that was found in the Old Testament. It's not in the New Testament. My eyes have been opened, and hopefully this debate clip that I show you, it will help open your eyes to the truth that God, Yahweh, is one, and that Jesus is the Father incarnated in the flesh. And this clip that I'm about to show you, it was from a Clubhouse room by the name of the God Logic Project. Now, God Logic, he's the one that you see on he's on YouTube as well as Clubhouse, and he's the one that be in Balboa Park debating the Muslims, him and Danny Davis. As some of you may know, Danny Davis was a guest on my channel. Me and Danny Davis, we used to debate what's his last name? Kenny Boomer. We would always be debating Kenny Boomer, getting the Muslims busted. But Danny is a Trinitarian. It was Danny who told me the real true meaning of what Trinity was. And when he told me that it was one God made up of three distinct persons, it didn't sit well with me. And from that point, I was uneasy about it. I was like, you know what? Something doesn't sound right about that. So the Spirit led me, and in his leading me, my eyes were open. So now I see without a shadow of a doubt that God is one. And I'm about to show you a clip from Clubhouse. Now, the guy that I'm debating in this clip, he's the one that you see in the upper left-hand corner. He goes by the name of Albee. And he's one of the leading people on Clubhouse who promotes the Trinity doctrine. And you're going to see in this clip, he tries to use Zechariah chapter 2, verses 10 and 11 to try to prove that there are two Yahwehs. That's right, people. He's trying to convince me and the audience that there are two Yahwehs. I know, as ridiculous as that sound, this is what these guys are teaching. It's blasphemous, but I'm going to show you how I got Mr. Albee confounded, and you're going to see how he runs from me debunking his position, and he doesn't even speak upon it. And then eventually I was moved down by Chris Claus. It was either, no, Danny Davis is the one who said that he moved me down. But Chris Claus, he was butting in the entire time. He wouldn't allow me to speak because that's how Trinitarians do. They protect their stages no different than the Muslims. They act just like the Muslims when they are getting cut. And it doesn't surprise me because people who promote false doctrines, they have to do extra means to protect the doctrine that they preach. I know I've been doing a lot of talking. I'm tired of talking myself. So without further ado, let's get right into the clip of me destroying Albee. And we're going to show how Albee runs and evades Brother Jacob in this clip. So let's get right into it.
11, please.
All right, no problem. Zechariah, what you say?
Chapter 2, verse 10 and 11.
All right, Zechariah 2, verse 10.
10 and 11.
Okay. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord.
All right, really quick, Golden. So who's the one that's coming to dwell in the midst of Zion? Jehovah, right? The Lord?
Yahweh.
Yahweh. Okay. Can we read 11, please?
And many nations shall be joined to the Lord in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto thee.
How can Jehovah of hosts send Jehovah to dwell in the midst of Zion for them to sing and rejoice over him? Because the one who's coming to dwell is going to be Jehovah, and he's going to come and dwell in the midst of them. As he says, sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for behold, I am coming, and I will dwell in your midst, says Jehovah. Many nations shall be joined to Jehovah in that day, and they shall become my people, and I will dwell in your midst. Then you will know that Jehovah of hosts has sent me to you. How can Jehovah be sending Jehovah if the oneness position is correct?
All right, so you gonna allow me to speak without interrupting me?
By the way, audience, I'm the one with the name Golden Swords. That's me in the red Nike shirt and the gray sweatpants. The one I'm debating is the one at the upper left-hand corner by the name of Albee.
Hey, if you don't mind, Al, we've actually had a guy up here that's been waiting for a very long time to say something here. So if you don't mind, we can open up to him for just a moment here, Mr. Kais Jibrail. If you're here.
You're going to skip from me to somebody else, and I was just asked the question.
I don't want to skip him. He's been up here for quite a while. If you're here, Kais Jibrail, if you want to have something that you wanted to say.
I don't think I see him, or is this okay, I see him. I see him.
Okay,
he's a Christian. Yeah, he's a Christian. He has a biblical verse, and but I would like to hear who he is. Qais, do you want to actually tell us who you are?
Yeah, I don't think he's here anymore.
All right,
you just move on to Golden.
If not, let Golden get in.
All right, thank you.
So what you just saw happen, one of the Trinitarians came off the mic and tried to cut into what I was saying. These are the type of things that they do. They like to use all of these different deflection mechanisms to try to make you forget what it is that you're saying. And also, they try to discourage you and intimidate you by making you have to sit and wait for a long time and they like to throw a lot of ad hominems. But regardless of all of that, I remained patient and I kept my composure, and watch how I'm going to show that the Father and the Son are not two distinct separate persons, and Albee had nothing for it.
Okay. Now notice something, Albee. Notice in that verse you went to, right? It says, "Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord." See, first and foremost, you have a singular pronoun, I. Now, I can never be in the place of a plurality. I am speaking. Who just said they were speaking? Me, Golden Swords. So the words go back to the I pronoun. Okay, so the speaker is one right here. That's first
Correct.
and foremost.
And I agree so far.
Okay, now moving to verse 11, it says, "And many nations shall be joined to the Lord in that day, and shall be my." Now, my is also a singular possessive pronoun. It can never be no plurality because it's my. Okay, my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto thee. Now,
so who's the me?
I'm going to tell you. You got to understand that this is a prophecy, right? Okay, this is something that is to occur. So it's a prophetic verse, and we know that the one that is to come, it is the Father who will be incarnated in the flesh. And let me show you why I know this. Let me show you why. Now, when you go to John 12:49 through 50, I got to read a couple verses. I won't be long, I promise you. John 12:49 through 50, it says.
Now watch this. The first verse that I'm going to show him is John chapter 12, verses 49 through 50. And you're going to see me prove to him that the Father and the Son are not two distinct persons, but they are actually one and the same.
"For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me, he gave me a commandment what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever," now whatsoever means without any exceptions, "whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak." Now, Jesus made it clear that the Father gives him the commandment of life, and the Father is the one who tells him what to speak. Now, let's go to John.
Wait, before you go anywhere, because you are escaping from the context, because you're assuming that this is speaking about his first advent, when verse 12 says that Jehovah will take possession of Judah as...
He claims that I'm trying to evade, but we're going to see who is actually the one who evaded the question that I have for him, which totally dismantled his entire premise and the reason why he went to Zechariah 2, 10, and 11 in the first place, to try to prove that there are two Yahwehs and that the Father and the Son are distinct persons.
His inheritance, meaning he has to inherit from someone in the Holy Land and will again choose Jerusalem, right? So will again choose Jerusalem. Well, we know that wasn't the case since Christ destroyed the temple in 70 AD through the Roman army. But when he comes back the second time, he will then dwell. And this is a fulfillment of Zechariah 14, the whole chapter, but specifically 3-5, in which verse 5 says, "Jehovah, my God, will come with all of his holy ones with him." And what Paul does with Zechariah chapter 14, verse 5 is this. In 1 Thessalonians 3:13, he says, "So that he may establish your hearts blameless in holiness before our God and Father at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ with all his saints." So Zechariah chapter 2 is not speaking about the first advent, but the second, just to be clear on that. So getting back to Zechariah chapter 2, it still doesn't take away from the fact that Jehovah is sending Jehovah to come and dwell in the midst of Zion.
Can I finish, Albee? Thank you. All right. Now, when you go back to what I was saying, John 12:49-50, Jesus makes it clear that it's the Father who tells him what to say and gave him the command of what to say, that commandment of life. Okay, the words that he say, whatsoever, is without any exception. So he's saying whatsoever he says, the Father commands him what to say. Okay. Now, when you go to John 14:10, it says, believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth into you. I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Okay, so clearly Jesus has made it known that the Father who dwells in him, he is the one who do the works. Okay, now let me take you to John 1:4. Now watch what it says. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. So if it says in John 1:4 that in Jesus was life, and the life was the light of men, now we know that the life that was in him, it was the Father. Okay? Because he said the Father dwelleth in him, and the Father doeth the works. Okay, now watch this. When you go to John 14:6, Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. So if the life that in him is the Father that dwelleth in him, and Jesus just made it known that he is the life, that is him telling you that he is the Father.
Okay, so can we get back to Zechariah chapter 2, verse 11, where it says, and I will dwell in your midst. Hold on, listen,
and this
please.
is on replay.
Hold
and
on,
everybody
hold on. It says,
now.
then you will
I just
know.
showed him, and this
But
is on
listen to the
replay.
question.
Make
Listen,
sure
Golden,
everybody you clip this, he's been
Golden,
busted.
Golden,
He's been
listen to
busted. Did
the
Jesus not
Golden,
say that
Golden,
he is the
Golden,
light?
listen to the question. Golden, listen to the question. Then you will know that.
So as you see, he was cut by the verses that I showed him. I went to John 12:49-50, where Jesus clearly says that everything that he says, the Father commands him to say. Then I took him to John 14:10, where Jesus said that it is the Father that dwells in him who is the one who doeth the works. Okay? So then, since we proved that the Father was the one that dwelt in him, then I took him to John 1:4, where it says, in him was life, and that life was the light of men. So we made a connection. If in Jesus was life, and that life was the light of men, and we know that the Bible says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and that Word became flesh. Well, the Word is the light of men. How do we know that? Because the Bible says in the book of Psalms, it says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So now we identified that word, which is the light. And then Jesus, that life, the light, the word, the light unto men that dwelled inside of Jesus. And Jesus tells you in John 14:6, it says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. So we prove without a doubt that Jesus is the life. That life that said was in him in John 1:4. Because in John 14:10 it says, the Father dwelleth in him, and the Father is the one who doeth the works. So if the Father is life, and in John 1:4 it says, in him was life, and Jesus tells you that he is the life in John 14:6, then Jesus has identified himself as the Father. They are one and the same. There is no distinction. And Albee was busted. So I wanted to make this little video to let everybody know that these Trinitarians is either two things. They are being misled and they are honestly believing what they teach, or they are just in open defiance and don't want to accept the truth, like you saw Albee as he avoided the question because he saw it. He saw it. But he didn't want to admit to it, and that's why he evaded and he ran, because he know that with those verses that I showed him, that I smashed his entire premise that he was trying to defend. So tell me what y'all think about it in the comments section below. And this is Brother Jacob. Once again, this is the False Prophet channel, where we get Islam destroyed and the false prophet of Islam, Muhammad, destroyed on a daily basis. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you show this video to your Trinitarian friends. And there's no way out of this. And with that, this is Brother Jacob signing out.